Teaching public school in Vietnam? Is this guy out of his mind? Probably. In this video, I will describe the absolute craziness of Ho Chi Minh City and my life as a public school teacher in the biggest city of Vietnam. Good morning. It's 6:15 in the morning and I wake up in District 1, the heart of Ho Chi Minh City. And it's time to go to work. So 6:15, I will get ready, take a shower, maybe eat something small, and then at 6:45, I'm getting on my bike. Now, every morning, the problem that the Vietnamese houses have is that they are very narrow. So meaning that I lived in an apartment complex that was about, I don't know, I would say maybe 6 floors, and there are about 15 apartments. So not that big building. So that means that the parking lot, right? Vietnamese people are always worried about space. There is not enough space. So the parking lot is very small, which means that I have to kind of fight and struggle to get my scooter, right? My motorcycle, to get it out of the driveway. Finally, I get it. I put on a mask. That's how bad the pollution is, that I have to wear a mask. Anyway, I put on a mask, a helmet, I have my suit on, right? And I'm going to work. It takes about 25 minutes because there is so much traffic. People are unfortunately not able to afford many cars. So that means that there are bikes. There are many bikes, like thousands and thousands of bikes. So every morning and afternoon and evening, right, when I'm sitting in traffic, I'm breathing in from the exhaust pipes, right? Oof, that's not great. But yes, I'm continuing to work. It's hot, but it's okay. You know, I protect my arms and everything from the sun. I get to school at around 7:10. First class starts at 7:15, so I prepare my things and then go to the classroom. Now, imagine a classroom with 50 students on a hot summer day without air conditioning. But yes, I get to the classroom, and the classrooms in Vietnam, in a public school, usually work the way that the younger kids don't have air conditioning, and then maybe high school students, in some high schools they have, and in some high schools they do not have. But generally, no air conditioning. There are multiple fans, right, on the ceiling for the students, and the teacher usually has a fan right next to him, right? So I would have a fan right next to me, just like this, blowing on me at all times. And the hardest thing is moving, because it's so hot, right? And there are so many kids. Sometimes you have to move, right? You have to entertain them. You're a teacher, but it also has to be fun, right? It has to be entertaining. So I would have to stand up, move, talk with them, right? Have a conversation, which would mean that I would sweat, and I would sweat a lot. But over time, I've realized how the Vietnamese teachers do it. And they do it differently. They don't move so much. So they are usually on their seat, right? So they have a fan blowing on them the whole time. Or they go to the board, write something, right? There's usually a fan there too. And then they go back and sit, right? So it's important to remain very close to the fan. Otherwise, you will die. There's one break at 8:45 for half an hour. So I would usually go outside and drink coffee. In Vietnam, it's very common that outside of schools, there are these shops, right? These small shops that sell coffee or candy, right, for the students and the teachers. Outside there would be like a small table, some small chairs, and we would drink 2 things every day. So in Vietnam, when you go to a coffee shop, it's not like in the West where you just get coffee and maybe some water. In Vietnam, you always get a special kind of tea. Now, this kind of tea is unsweetened. It's called cha da. The way it usually works is that you drink the coffee first, a little bit, and then once you are done with the coffee, you just kind of pour the tea in and then mix it again and finish the drink. That's how Vietnamese people do it. And so we would sit outside and then we would go back. So the weird thing about Vietnamese schools is that they have a 3-hour break in between classes. So for lunch, right? So I would finish at 11:15. Now, by this point, I have already taught 3 hours. I just finished and now I have a 3-hour break, which means that I have to drive back home 25 minutes and drive 25 minutes back. So what I would usually do is I would drive back home, I would sleep, maybe eat something real quick, sleep for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and then I would drive back to the school for afternoon classes. Now, afternoon classes, the kids are pretty lively, I would say. The afternoons are good, right? Everybody is in a good mood. The kids usually slept, right? Because I was teaching middle school. So the students were maybe 10 to 14 years old. So they would usually take a nap at home and then they would come back to school and I would realize that they are refreshed, right? I think it was better than in the mornings, and then I would continue teaching. Now, in each classroom, there would always be a Vietnamese assistant. So I would have a person that would be there basically making sure that the kids are behaving themselves, right? So they're not there to actually teach. The teaching is all on me, but they're there to help you out if you need something. If somebody's behaving badly, right? They can shout in Vietnamese like, hey, don't do that, right? It's much better and much easier for the kids to understand this, actually. Otherwise, it would be a complete chaos. My school was a small school on the outskirts of Ho Chi Minh. That's why I had to drive about 20-25 minutes to get there. Now, the school had about 1,000 students, I would say, and in front of the school was a river. Now, the rivers in Ho Chi Minh City are quite polluted, I have to say. So the river in front of my school was black, totally black. We finished school at around 4:30, yes, and then I would get on my bike and usually go meet a friend for dinner or go somewhere. In conclusion, I would say that it was extremely hard, very challenging. I was extremely hot and it was quite uncomfortable, but the kids appreciate you. They appreciate you so much because they know it's not easy, right? They see you. So I would totally recommend it, and it felt good. It felt like I'm doing something for the world, like I'm helping people, and that's the most important, right? Is to help each other. Thank you. I hope this video helped you and didn't scare you too much from Vietnam, and go experience it yourself. It's 100% worth it. And please subscribe and like this video, and I will keep making content for you. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.